Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Davika Junor, and I'm the Community Relations and Outreach Specialist with the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today to learn more about Surtax, Matt Broward, as well as projects and opportunities in Broward County. We have some great speakers for you today. We have our participating cities, which include the city of Coconut Creek, Fort Lauderdale, Plantation, and Pompano Beach. We also have a representative from our Mobility Advancement Program team. So before we get started, I do want to remind everyone that today's event is being recorded. So just in case you miss some vital information, please know that you're going to get a link to the event recording approximately 48 hours after our event today. So just check your email for that link to the event recording. So today we really want it to be interactive as well, and we want to take your questions. So if you have any questions throughout today's presentation, please click on the Q&A button in your Zoom toolbar. You can submit your question and we will respond to it live for you. So feel free throughout today's presentation, again, just click on that Q&A button and you can submit your question. So let's get started. First, let me introduce our director here at the Office of Economic and Small Business Development, who really needs a little introduction from myself. He has more than 19 years of experience in working in community and economic development. And as many of you already know, he's a wealth of knowledge and an advocate for small businesses. So Sandy, it's all yours.
Thank you, Savika, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Surtax Spotlight, Matt Broward. You're going to hear us say that quite often today. You're going to hear us say that quite often next week. You're going to hear us say that quite often next month. And at some point, you're going to start saying it with us, Matt Broward, Mobility Advancement Program, Broward. But you'll hear more about that. And again, like Savika, thank you all for joining us. And thank our speakers today, our presenters from Coconut Creek, Fort Lauderdale, Plantation, and Pompano Beach. Some of you, and right now we're counting around 92 participants, have followed us for about 11 to 15 months as we started talking about Surtax. And mostly, we shared with you the county's programs, the county's project, and we always talk about the small business participation. I'm excited today because we're going to do this for about 2 or 3 more series. We're going to let you hear more from the cities. As the cities are finishing up their dotted I's and crossed T's and all the technical things they have to do on the interlocal agreement and the technical things they had to do for the last amendment and all those wonderful things, the cities are just as excited as we are about sharing their projects so that our small businesses can be aware, so that when prime contractors are looking for those required small business participation pieces, they'll already know where to go. So this is our first opportunity of having some of our city partners with us to tell you about some of the projects they plan to roll out. Next slide. But I'm going to give you a brief synopsis about our office, who we are and what we do. And again, you know, I normally do a regular workshop with that. So we're not going to spend a lot of time with me today because we want to get you to the cities. I want you to hear from the cities. But remember, the Office of Economic and Small Business Development, we're small business focused. We are a county government agency. We promote and create jobs. You know, we're all about business growth and job creation. We educate aspiring entrepreneurs. Check our website. Our upcoming new venture workshop is going to be happening later this spring, sometime around March or April. That 10-module course that will take a business from conception to white paper all the way to launch. And there's an application process for that, but we work with entrepreneurs and we're a service agency. We're a service agency because every single agency in Broward County, airport, seaport, Convention and Visitors Bureau, facilities, HR department, human resource, any agency in Broward County that looks to procure, that looks to buy a good material or service, we work with them to see if there's any opportunities for certified small businesses to participate. So that's who we are as an office. Next slide. We're also here today primarily, and our office speaks volume as the small business program. The county has a goal, at least 25% of what we buy, and excluding the year of COVID, the county normally averages about 1 billion with the B, goods, materials, and services and products procured every year. Our job, the commission challenges us with finding a way to make sure at least 25% of that is done with certified small businesses. According to the paint cans, I got about 874 businesses. We can use more small businesses because in addition to the $1 billion of procurement the county does, we're talking today about another initiative. Cities and the county, when using Surtax money, 30% goals and sometimes greater must be assigned to those projects. So in addition to all of the county procurement, for the next 28 plus years, when we're talking Surtax, cities too will be working with us hand in hand to assure that 30% or more of their projects, goals are set where small businesses can participate. So as you can imagine, we need more small businesses. So you want to understand how to get certified and what's the advantages of getting certified. Next slide. A question was posed. My staff does these surveys from time to time. Are you currently certified with Broward County? We had about 139 in that survey say yes, but I had about 134 to say no. So, hey, all of those no's, later on in the presentation, you're going to see some links. You're going to see some email addresses. We want you to go to our website. We want you to get our newsletter. We want you to thoroughly understand the program. And if you provide a good material or service that the county procures, we want to encourage you to get certified. Next slide. And we just started with a new online certification application. That's right, January last year, 4 years ago, or 8 years ago, May 2013, when I got here. You would have to go online, download my application, fill that application out, mail it in or drop it off. I know, we were archaic. We were just old Stone Age. But as of this month, you can now go online, fill the application out online, and upload your documents and send. So please, if you're not certified, we're even making it even easier and more convenient for you to get certified. And in case you decide that you want to walk through this late at night or the weekends, we even have a YouTube video that a voice will walk you through every single line of the application to make sure that you can complete it accurately and timely. So new online application is out here and it's ready. Next slide. And the reason why you want to get certified, if interested, everybody doesn't want to do business with government. I don't know why not, but everyone does it. But if interested, you want to get certified so you can end up in the directory. On behalf of the cities who are speaking today and the other cities, on behalf of all the county agencies, when prime contractors are required to use my small businesses, I would love it if they call us, but all don't call us. They go to the directory. The directory is a listing of all the businesses who are certified. They can go to that directory by industry. They're looking for that electrical contractor. They're looking for that asphalt person. They're looking for that concrete guy. They're looking for that architect, engineer, or that design guy. We list you in our directory, and whether it's county bids or now going forward, as a part of the city solicitation, they'll be telling folks about the goals. They'll be telling folks about the program. But they'll also be telling folks if you need to identify subs, certified CBE or Broward County businesses to aid them, they'll be sending folks to the directory. So as a small business, you want to be in the directory so you're not missed. Next slide. 3 Ps is what this office is really about when it comes to the small business program. Program, process, people. Program. I tell all small businesses, you want to understand Business Opportunity Act 2012 as recently amended May 2018. Knowing the program means you're going to understand what a CBE is, County Business Enterprise, SBE, Small Business Enterprise, what it means when we say sheltered market, what it means when we say CBE reserve. The reason you want to know the program, and we'll align this with like sports, because if you know the rules, no matter what your talent skill is, if you know the rules, the better you can perform. You want to know the ordinance that the county commission has set aside that requires county agencies, and now in partnership with the oversight board, requires cities when issuing contracts to use small businesses. The ordinance is called Business Opportunity Act 2012, and it was recently amended in May of 2018, but you want to understand the program. And after understanding the program, then you want to know the process. How do I navigate procurement? How do I get information on bids before the bid ever come out? Where can I begin to do some historical research and collect some information about the things the county does procure to see if my industry or my business is a part of that? Where can I find out information on past bids? You want to learn the process. In our office, through multiple workshops, often do meet and greets, webinars, and even when we're doing the face-to-face, bringing folks in front of you that can help you understand Broward County better, Broward County procurement better, and how to research information as a small business that would advantage you before you ever have to bid. So you want to allow us to help you learn the process. I do a workshop called Certified Now What? Some folks get certified and they're like, oh, I'm certified, I'm ready. And they're just sitting here like a baseball catcher, waiting for someone to throw. That's not the idea. If you're certified, you now want to know bids that sound like you, bids that could be you. Historically, what has the county done? Can I see some past bids? Can I see some past contracts? Can I get familiar with what the dollar values were? Can I get familiar with what the type of the scopes of services were? And if I can understand that, any future bid that's coming down the pipe that sounds like me, I can begin to compare it as well as prepare myself. Navigating the system, do I understand Broward's bid sync, which is now Periscope, S2G? Do I know how to go into that system and understand from reading a bid to understanding who else is responding to that bid, to understand the different scopes and how to communicate? We want to help you as a small business understand the process. And the third P is people. That's what today is about. You have my office, you got purchasing. We do an annual workshop called Contracting Opportunities that right after the new budget passes each fiscal year, we do a huge workshop for about 250 to 300 of our small businesses. And I take all the major county agencies and they tell you about the contracts they're looking to put on the street or the solicitations for the next year, year and a half. People is the idea that today we're going to have you speak to 4 of our cities. 4 cities are going to tell you about their proposed projects dealing with Surtax. Some may have not rolled out in solicitation, so you're getting some general information to prepare yourself. Meeting the people means some of these cities are even going to let you know what portal you need to be in. Everyone doesn't use the same portal we use. So our whole objective is when we're doing our workshops, I always try to make sure the small business recognized to put yourself in the best competitive position. And folks, I always have to say competitive. Nothing's free. To put yourself in the best competitive position with other small businesses and larger firms, you want to know the program, the process, and the people you need to meet. And our office is responsible for sharing that with you and leading you in that direction. Next slide. Another question that we asked, how would you rate your knowledge of the transportation surtax in Broward County? Some of you knew about it. Many of you voted for it, some of you didn't vote for it. But at the end of the day, there were some who had no information, had a few experts, and there were just as many who said fair. That's why we do the workshops we do. That's why I'm glad we bring in 4 of our first partner cities to share with you. And down the road, we're going to bring more of our partner cities. The key, especially if I'm talking to an audience of small businesses, the key is to make sure you understand how we got here. The key is to make sure you understand what the ordinance requires of us as a county and of the cities. The key is to get the information in advance that would afford you the opportunity to see if there's going to be business opportunities for you in your industry. And the key is to know the players who are going to be responsible for sharing that information to make sure that you have that chance to bid on some of these contracts. So we're here. This session is happening because we do recognize everyone's not only not familiar with Surtax, but even some of the folks who are familiar as businesses really still haven't connected the dots to what their opportunities are. And this workshop and others will be doing exactly that, showing you what your real opportunities are. Next slide. So here we are. Broward County's penny for transportation surtax. Sometimes we got a little thing called surtax with Nikki, one of our staff members, and she does these cute little videos on my Wednesday newsletter. This was really about spotlight on surtax, but we're really moving to what's going to be our branded name as a partner and mobility advancement program, MAP Broward. So we want you to start remembering MAP Broward. You're going to hear that much more. You're going to start seeing a logo that blends with MAP Broward, but that's the name that we're going to be transitioning to. Next slide. And here's some of the specifics to the small business component. At the end of the day, this is a 30-year program. At the end of the day, the commission decided on eligible projects over the 30 years. We wanted a 30% goal for small business. At the end of the day, we were originally looking at about $355 million a year in projects. We know COVID did a little interruption, so we got some new adjusted numbers at the bottom. We recognize because the surtax can only be spent, that penny, which collects about $355 a year, need to be clear, can only be spent on transportation operations, transportation services, infrastructure, including in the 31 cities, and the future of rail. And because of that, $355 million a year, we can't put a 30% goal on 355. Some of you say, why not, Mr. McDonald? That would be great. Because you heard me say some of the funds can be spent on transportation operation and services. Mr. Walton, our transportation director, has already purchased, and some of you've already seen them, brand new electrical buses. But folks, I can't put a goal on an electrical bus. Why? Because none of my small businesses are certified by the Department of Transportation to manufacture or make any buses. And none of my small businesses are certified by the Department of Transportation to sell any buses. So there will be things that these MAP dollars will be used for that I can't place a goal. But we're confident that if I took that $355 million a year and I cut it in half to about 177, I'm confident that there's at least $177 million a year that we can place a goal on. And by doing so, that means I get somewhere around, next slide, $53 million a year that we can be looking at. So a 30% goal on about $177 million of eligible contract activity should put me somewhere about $53 million in contracts for our small business community. And what you're going to see when you start looking at some of the city numbers, that number could be larger because some of the projects are sizable enough for the CBEs, the certified small businesses, to win themselves. Every project won't require a prime contractor to win, and then he or she must spend 30% of that with the small business. Some of those projects will be sizable enough for the small business themselves to win as primes. But again, we just wanted to give you the bigger picture. We really are looking at the short side of $1.7 billion during the course of 30 years that should be impactful to small businesses right here in Broward County. And that's how you grow your economy. That's how you sustain your economy. And even right now for the next 3 years, that's how you help to come out of a situation like COVID. Next slide. So some of the things, as I get ready in the next 3 minutes to pass this over to one of our representatives of the MAP program, from the planning and the design and the construction, understand, in partnership with the cities, the municipalities are giving my office their projects. Right now, Nicole Francis, she reviews the projects and work with the city to take a look at the available small businesses in our directory to then make a determination on a recommended goal. We submit that information back to the cities, and when the cities have dotted all the I's across the T's, when that solicitation goes to the street, it will have that goal affixed. But the cities, as well as the county agencies, we all present our information to the oversight board. We also present that information to the county commission. Again, we making sure all the necessary sanctioning bodies are in agreement with these projects, that these projects do align with what the purpose and the intent of Surtax is, or what the penny tax is, or MAP is. We make sure everything aligns, and then we want to be about the business of helping the city and the county improve their infrastructure, get the necessary transportation operation and services, and use small businesses to do so. That's what this is about, helping our cities, helping our county to prepare ourselves to be a better transit-oriented community, but using local small businesses to aid us in doing so. Next slide. So getting ready for projects, the whole idea is that you also need to understand what the cities use. We're going to talk a little bit about us. We're really BitSync, but your ideal as a small business, you want to know what portal to go to. What am I supposed to use? And that's the kind of information in other workshops we also share. That's the things you want to know before solicitation. You don't want to wait till solicitation to say, oh, I wonder what that city uses as their bid portal. We want to make sure you know that in advance. Next slide. Which is why in getting to know our municipalities, here are the bid platforms that they use. Again, Savika already told you that we'll make sure this entire presentation is up on our website within 48 hours after this, or you'll get a link, I'm sorry, and within 48 hours. But this is running information that we do provide on our website, because it's going to be important to know what the cities do, which is why we're going to start having these sessions when the cities come in and also share with you what they do. Next slide. And again, for Broward County, you always become a vendor first. And our system, the old former BidSync, is now called Periscope S2G, and it's free. Periscope is one of those entities, one of those platforms that would love to tell you about bids in Texas. Well, I don't know about Texas right now, it's kind of cold, but they'll tell you about bids all over the country for a low, low price. If you just want to know about the bids in Broward County, what Broward County is looking to procure, you get to register for free. You only pay if you want to know other stuff like California, Michigan, Oregon. But if you just want to know Broward County's procurement activity, register for free. Next slide. And here's a quick project updates. Next slide. To date, from our end, the county has reviewed, my office has reviewed 30 projects for about $209 million of revenue. About $100 million of that revenue is for eligible projects that CBEs can be on. And that's a dollar value of about 27 million when I look at 33%. So at the end of the day, of that 100 million, when we look at that 100 million and we start taking a look at the projects that are eligible, projects that's not eligible, when it's all said and done, we're averaging about 33%. Remember, the ordinance says 30 on the goals we're setting, but there's a real dollar value for the county projects right now of about $27 million towards our small business opportunities. Next slide. We ran the same numbers for our cities. Right now, this office has reviewed 52 projects coming from all of the cities regarding Surtax. A total dollar amount for 52 projects is a little bit over 95 million. Different than the county. 92 million of those dollars are what would be considered eligible activities. But then when we actually set the goals on eligible activities, it comes out to about $31 million worth of project activity out here. And again, when we just count the numbers separately, we're still doing about 33% goals on these 30s. Bottom line is, between the county and the city, right now, we have projects with goals that have real opportunities for small business participation. Next slide. And where are these municipal projects? There's a running list: Coconut Creek, Dania Beach, Plantation, Pompano. You see how many projects they've given us to date to review, and there'll be certainly more coming by the end of this year, certainly going into future years. But again, from our cities, approximately 52 projects. Next slide. Reminder, this is from Savika, Q&A. Definitely put your questions into the Q&A. And as we're going through this, the presenters who are not speaking or after they speak, including myself, will go in and answer any questions we can. We hope to get to a live Q&A at the end of this session after all the speakers speak as well. But again, put your questions down. But right now, let me introduce you to Jeff Napier, who's our procurement strategist for MAP. Once again, Mobility Advancement Program. And Jeff, thanks for joining us, sir, and the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Sandy, and thanks everybody for letting me join you today. You know, a couple of weeks ago, Sandy made a presentation at the Oversight Board meeting, and he was describing what he was going to do today in this meeting, and I thought to myself, man, I have got to just join that meeting and listen into some of the things that that you guys are going to talk about. But Sandy actually did more than that. He asked me that, hey, if you want to join the meeting, why don't you come in and tell everybody a little about your role, and I'm happy to do that today. Now, I am new in the MAP office. A lot of us are new. I came in July, and since July, I've been embedded in the Broward County Purchasing Division, sort of learning about Broward County's process, getting to know the procurement people here, and understanding a little bit about the systems and the way things work. Now, I've got a lot of experience in procurement at the federal level, especially in planning and organizing really large-scale multi-year projects. So this position and role was really a good fit, and I'm happy to be here. Now, I'm the first procurement strategist, definitely the first one for MAP. So I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what my responsibilities were going to be and what they are. My primary goal is to sort of guide and support an effective strategy for all of the major Surtax programs. Now that's a pretty big lift, considering that they're going to be done and executed through multiple contract offices and multiple procurement shops. But I'm going to do my best to understand where we are and where we're going on some of the large projects. I also have a role in facilitating communication between all the stakeholders, the ones here inside the county and the program owners, the municipalities and the cities that are going to be involved in executing, and also the business community that is a full partner in what we're trying to achieve. I do have a responsibility too to help champion small business and competition in everything that we're doing with Surtax dollars, just to make sure that the public can see the benefit, they can see that competition is real, and that we're doing what we said we were going to do with the program. My other big goal is to try to leverage some of the synergies around our whole portfolio of procurements. So as I mentioned at the beginning, as you guys know, these are going to be done by multiple groups and offices, but we all are working towards one goal. And I'm going to do my best to try to leverage our efforts together so that we can achieve everything that we'd like to achieve. Next slide. For me, I think, yep, this is just a little bit of contact information about MAP Broward. This is our email address for social media. There is a meeting that our office is going to sponsor in the spring of this year, a city marketing and training day. I'll be there. I hope to see some of you there. And here's how you can follow us too on Facebook, Twitter, and I forgot what the other symbol is, Snapchat, I think. So anyway, again, thank you for letting me join the meeting today. It's great to meet you through video. I hope to meet some of you in person very soon. And Sandy, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, then. Thank you, sir. And again, thanks for joining us. And though it's been since July, welcome to Broward County.
Thank you.
Okay, next slide. Okay, so first up, we're ready now for our cities. We got the city of Coconut Creek. And for the city of Coconut Creek, Danny and Linda, I don't know who's going first, but you guys have the show. And again, thanks for joining us and sharing information today.
Thanks, Sandy. Hello and welcome to today's Surtax webinar. My name is Linda Jethan. I'm the procurement manager for the city of Coconut Creek. Coconut Creek is located in the northwest portion of Broward County. We are a medium-sized city with approximately 60,000 residents. Today, we'll be talking about our comprehensive streets improvement project, phase 2. I'd like to introduce our senior project manager, Danny Cabrit, to talk about the specifics of this project. Danny?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danny Cabrit. I'm the senior project manager working with the utilities and engineering department for the city of Coconut Creek. As you all know, the city has applied for some projects for the Surtax funding, and we got awarded for one of our major projects. Next slide, please. So the project is, okay, we're missing a slide. Okay, so the project is comprehensive street improvements phase 2. So we do have this project is about 4 phases, and we have completed the first phase, and now we're in the second phase. So the city of Coconut Creek is proposing roadway improvements on approximately 7.3 centerline miles of local city roadways. As we can see here, the project boundaries, we have from the north, we have Sample Road, from the south, we have Coconut Creek Parkway, from the east, we do have the Turnpike, and from the west, we do have Banks Road. The project areas is about 865,000 square feet. Next slide, please. So as you can see, the reason why we're doing this project is because the pavement is, the roadways are deteriorating in our areas. So you can see here we have raveling and linear cracking. Next slide, please. And we do have raveling and alligator cracking and patching, as you can see in pictures, and rutting and alligator and depressions. So the cracking in total is about 72,000 square feet, which is 8.4% of the areas of our project. And the patching and raveling is about 13.6% of our project. Next slide, please. So the project improvements, what we're doing here is milling and resurfacing. So the roadway, so we had to do road reconstruction, maintenance access units, and utility valve adjustments. Everything had to be adjusted again, from striping, from signage. And we do have also addition for sidewalks, and some sidewalks need to be widened, and some sidewalks need to be eliminated as well. So we have to meet the ADA requirements. And basically, when we work with sidewalks, the swale is going to be affected. So we're going to do a swale regrading on almost all the affected areas. So we're going to have to do trimming of trees and roots and root barriers as well. And they're going to be a little bit of landscape improvements where it's needed. And we're going to add decorative stamped asphalt, crosswalk, and intersection also if needed. The length of the initial contract term is 180 days, and the engineer's cost estimate is $3,346,000. Next slide, please. So as we can see here, the Surtax project name is BC Creek FY 2020, and the anticipated project advertisement, it's in the second quarter of 21. I would like to add here the NAICS codes is 23731, and the second one is 238990. So with that, I would like to add that the construction set of plans is already completed, and we do have the design plans and the permitting as well from Broward County Traffic Engineering Division and from Broward County Surface Water Management License. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, we've added 2 slides from the OESBD. So we can see the planning, design, and reconstruction. We are now with the goal assignment. Next slide, please. So we here see the visual for the process. For any additional information, you can go to the OESBD website. Thank you. Linda, back to you.
Thanks, Danny. Okay, again, my name is Linda Jethan. I am the procurement manager. I'll be discussing the city's bid platform for issuing solicitations or bids. This is a quick tutorial on how to navigate the eBid system. Next slide. So in order to access the eBid system, you can go to the city's webpage. The address is www.coconutcreek.net. Hover over Doing Business and then click on Procurement. Next slide. To go directly to the procurement webpage, use the address www.coconutcreek.net//procurement. On the procurement webpage, you will find links that will take you to information on current, closed, and awarded solicitations, as well as active contracts, public notices, and much more. On the right-hand side of the procurement page are the quick links. Should you need to speak with a member of the procurement team, click on the link titled Procurement Staff to view staff contact information. Next slide, please. If you haven't registered as a vendor, please click on the supplier registration link and follow the prompts entering the required information. When you've completed the registration process, an email will automatically be sent to you and you will be given access to log into the eBid system. Here's a screenshot of the city's eBid system login screen. You can also click on any of the quick access buttons to view information on current bids, closed bids, awarded bids, non-awarded bids, active contracts, and public notices, as well as there is a button for e-verify information and a link that will take you back to the city's website. Next slide. So when you log into the eBid system, it will take you to your home screen, which is a calendar. You can view all events or only your events. In the near future, you'll be able to customize because it will be a dashboard. So in green are bids that are currently advertised. Red are bids that have closed. Blue are bid activities such as information on a pre-bid meeting. Orange is the cutoff date for asking questions on a specific bid. And purple is information personally for you, the vendor. Next slide. So on the menu bar under bids, if you click on all, you'll be able to view draft, active, and inactive bids. You can search for a particular bid by typing in the bid number or project name, excuse me, or by using the bid number field or title field to find the information you are looking for. Next slide. Under the Contracts tab, the city houses citywide contracts and agreements under that tab. You can perform a contract search by entering the contract number. If you do not know the contract number, you can search by title, type of contract, supplier name, dates, and if you know the procurement analyst that handled the bid, you can enter the name in the owner field. Next. As you can see, there are many ways to search for a contract. You can search all contracts or just your contracts. Next slide. So here's an example or a sample of the information you will see when viewing a particular contract. You can click on each tab to view related contract information and download documents under the Attachments tab. Next slide. So under the Suppliers tab, the city houses all registered vendors in its database. You can search for active and inactive vendor information. You can also view vendors under a listed commodity or by classification, such as SBE, DBE, etc. And that's it. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us, and we hope this information helps you with doing business with the city of Coconut Creek. Are there any questions for Danny or I?
Hey, Linda. Yes, I think there are a few questions.
Okay.
So let's go to the first one. Will there be a CEI contract associated to this contract? And I think that one is for Danny, so feel free to unmute yourself, Danny.
Will there be a CEI contract associated with this contract?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to answer for Danny. So no, there's not going to be.
Okay, thank you. The next one is from Tommy. Who do we contact to set up a marketing meeting with the Coconut Creek Engineering Department? We would like to present our company and find out about upcoming projects before they get advertised, so we can put together a good team to pursue a project.
Well, they can contact me. Just go on the procurement page and contact me, and I can make that arrangement.
Okay, great. And I'm just checking if we have any more questions. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the question and answer in your Zoom toolbar. I think this one was for Coconut Creek as well. It was, are you procuring materials directly for these, or are you expecting the contractors to provide their own materials and have it as a part of their bid?
We're going to, Danny, do you want to answer that, or?
You can if you want.
Okay. We're going to expect the contractors to procure the items. We haven't actually discussed DPOs, but for this project, I believe that there's not going to be any DPOs. It's going to be contractors procuring the items.
Okay, great. Thanks, Danny and Linda. Sandy, we'll pass it back to you, and we'll go on to the city of Fort Lauderdale next.
Okay, then. So let's keep it going. And we got Juan Rodriguez, who's going to be representing the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I think we also got Maureen Lewis. But either way, you guys can take it over.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sandy. So first of all, I wanted to say good afternoon and thank you all for having us, and happy Friday Eve as well, almost there to the weekend. So we are the city of Fort Lauderdale. We are the largest municipality in Broward County with over 180,000 residents. Before we go into the individual specifics of each of our upcoming Surtax projects, we just wanted to give you a little bit of a background as to being a vendor with the city of Fort Lauderdale. The city of Fort Lauderdale's procurement platform is BidSync, powered by Periscope. It's becoming Periscope S2G, as was mentioned earlier. And a big thing that a piece of advice that I wanted to really emphasize as well is for all potential vendors to get notifications of these upcoming solicitations, to visit that link below. That link will take you to our current solicitations, but also if you follow that website, you're going to get tons of resources on our procurement services, such as becoming a vendor, our typical processes for procurement, procurement ordinance, and a lot of vital information for vendors to know and become knowledgeable of before these solicitations come on the market. Next slide. So our first project that I'm going to be talking about today is Northwest 15th Avenue Mobility Improvements. Essentially, this is going to be a streetscape infrastructure project, creating a shared use path, adding sidewalks, crosswalks, ADA improvements, and a couple of traffic calming elements as well. This project is finishing design, and as soon as design is completed, we're going to go ahead and move forward with submitting documentation, getting CBE requirement, things like that, CBE goal assignments and everything. So that way we can hopefully have this on the solicitation on the market by the end of this fiscal year. So Q4 of fiscal year 2021. Next slide. This next project as well, it's correlated with the previous project that I mentioned is street lighting. So not just the streetscape project itself, but amending and adding lighting across the pretty much the same jurisdiction. So it's from 15th Avenue from Sunrise Boulevard to Northwest 19th Street. And essentially it's going to be complementing the previous project that I had just mentioned. And that's also expected Q3 or Q4 of this year. Next slide. Next one is sidewalk program, so new construction. So this one is going to be adding sidewalk connections throughout the city. It's pretty much citywide in most neighborhoods. It's essentially adding and designing sidewalk connections between missing segments and a lot of neighborhoods. So that one this is going to be for design. The other two are for construction. So this is more of a design solicitation, and that should be going out Q3 of this fiscal year. Next slide, perfect. These next two projects are going to be planning projects. Essentially, it's going to be creating a master plan for a one-way pairs project within our downtown core. Both Andrews Avenue and 3rd Avenue, which run north and south in our downtown core, we want to go ahead and do a master plan to determine the feasibility and to develop concepts for creating one-way pairs for both of those streets. So essentially, this is going to be a master plan project going to be released later on this year. Project estimate for both of them combined is going to be around $200,000 to do a master plan and feasibility study for converting those into one-way pairs. Next slide. That's just what I mentioned. That's 3rd Avenue. It's complementing Andrews Avenue doing one-way pairs. Next slide. So these next are our repair and rehabilitation projects. This first project is going to be a complete bridge replacement of our South Ocean Drive Bridge. And essentially what we're going to be doing is replacing the bridge, but also when we're placing the new bridge, doing some right-of-way work, creating sidewalks, widening the bridge a little bit. So this one is going to probably be our first project that we're going to release on the market. We're hopeful to have that done sometime in Q2 or Q3 of this fiscal year. We're currently working with Broward County now to get that approved and underway so we can go into a funding agreement to begin construction on that. But that one is going to be probably our first solicitation that will go on the market and will be a rather big project. Next slide. This one is going to be a bridge rehabilitation, so not a replacement like the last one. So this is our Westlake Drive Bridge rehab. It's going to be repairing the bridge, but also adding some right-of-way improvements. So we're also going to be adding a sidewalk on one side and a bike lane on the other. So there is going to be some right-of-way work associated with this as well. Next slide. This is going to be similar to the new construction of sidewalks. This is going to be a sidewalk repair. So throughout the city, there's various sidewalks that are in need of repair and are in need of ADA improvements. So this one is going to go ahead and look at those existing sidewalks, repair them, and add ADA improvements at those various locations. Next slide. And I believe this is the last one. This is our Las Olas Finger Streets asphalt resurfacing project. Basically on the aisles off the south end of Las Olas Boulevard, there's various aisles where the asphalt needs to be completely remilled and resurfaced. So that is what we'll be doing with those. It's going to be paired with a city utility relocation project. So there's going to be a solicitation that is a non-Surtax project for utility relocation paired with this Surtax project for asphalt resurfacing. So those are going to be two solicitations that are going to be going out with this same general area that will be impacted. And that is it. I know I covered a lot of slides and I went pretty fast, but by all means, if there's any questions, my contact information is there. Maureen's contact information is there as well. She's our senior procurement specialist in our procurement division. If there's any questions after this on how to become a vendor, how to become registered in BidSync, how to receive notifications on those solicitations and anything that you can do, please reach out to her. If you have any questions on our Surtax projects and the scope of those projects and in more detail, feel free to reach out to me. And with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Savika, do we have any questions for Juan at this time?
Not at this time.
Okay, so let's keep this moving. And again, we'll make sure that if you see Juan's last slide, it did have the contact information for him as well as Maureen. We did ask the other speakers to put their contact information in the chat. We'll also remind you that we will make all of this available as a link about 48 hours after today's presentation. But with that, let's move on to the city of Plantation. And we got Charles Spencer, the interim procurement director, who will be presenting today. Charles, welcome and thanks for joining us. Check to make sure you're not muted.
Excuse me. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I get started into the specific project that we have outlined for the Surtax program, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to do business with the city of Plantation. First and foremost, your first point of contact should be the procurement department when wanting to conduct business with the city. This ensures that the city receives the best value for the services, materials, supplies, and the equipment needed to operate the city. It also ensures that you have the most up-to-date and relevant information relating to the project. Just recently, amid COVID, the city of Plantation has gone fully electronic with receiving all their bids. We currently use the DemandStar website to solicit all our bids and receive all our bids electronically. That can be done via the DemandStar website. That's www.demandstar.com. So you can receive all our bids as well as submit all your responses relating to our bids electronically via the DemandStar website. The city no longer accepts, I'll be clear about this, the city no longer accepts any hard copy bid submittals. If a bid submittal has been submitted by mail or by hard copy, it will be rejected. Becoming a vendor with Plantation is very important. Pursuant to Broward County Ordinance number 2011-19 and the City of Plantation Resolution 12242 requires that each bidder must register as a vendor with the City of Plantation prior to submitting a bid. How do you do this? You can log onto our website, www.plantation.org, and simply register as a vendor. This is a completely electronic process. It's a one-page document, and once you upload your W-9 form, you are considered a registered vendor with the City of Plantation. Just to highlight, we also here in Plantation, we also have a local vendor preference on top of our process, which allows any Plantation business to receive, that submits a bid within 5% of the low bid, to be given extra consideration to come into compliance or meet the apparent low bidder's number. This information can be found in our city code, section 2-227, or if you need more information or would like to discuss this matter in further detail, feel free to contact me and I'll be more than happy to discuss. So I'm going to jump, next slide, please. So I'm going to jump right into the Surtax project that we have anticipated for City of Plantation. This is a citywide roadway resurfacing project. Relating to this project, the city will be requesting sealed bids for the provision of all materials, labor, equipment, and any other incidental to construct repaved asphalt concrete pavement using a repaved asphalt concrete pavement technology, RACP. This technology is specific to what the city of Plantation is currently using, but can be produced and worked on by any contractors that are willing to obtain it. So there's 6 different locations as it relates to this project, totaling about 19.48 lane miles and approximately 2.67 turn lane miles, approximately about $2.7 million worth of expense. Like I said, there's 6 locations. I'm going to run them off fairly quickly here. Location 1 is Broward Boulevard from Flamingo Road to Commodore Drive. The second location is Cleary Boulevard, which is University Drive to Pine Island. The third location is Commodore Drive, which is Southwest 8th Street to State Road 84. Location 4 is our Lauderdale West community, city roadways only. Our 5th location is Southwest 6th Street, which is University Drive to Pine Island Road. And then our 6th location is Southwest 78th Avenue / Southwest 10th Street, the perimeter road to University Drive. A couple of helpful hints to remember when trying to do business or doing business with the city of Plantation is to complete the vendor application process to become a vendor with the city of Plantation. Ensure that all your bid documents and quotations are signed by an authorized representative of your city or by your company. Please reread all bid documents thoroughly, reply with all information requested, submit the response prior to its due date, respond to the bid with what was requested. No substitutions will be recognized unless previously approved in writing by the city. Ask questions. Please ask questions relating to any submittal or any bid solicitation that's out there on the street. And again, all our bids can be found on www.demandstar.com. That'll be all. Thank you. Next slide. I guess that's the questions. Thank you. Yes. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Charles. I'm looking right now. We don't have any questions at the moment, and I'll just remind everyone to please keep putting your questions in the Q&A section, and we will get to those.
Thank you.
And Sandy, I believe we have Pompano Beach up next.
Yes, we do. And you can go ahead and get to that first slide. And joining us from Pompano Beach is Horatio. Hey, sir, thanks for joining us. And the floor is yours.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Sandy. I'm Horatio Danovich. I'm the General Obligation Bond and Innovation District Director with the City of Pompano Beach. And my contact information is on this particular slide, 954-786-7834. Please call me with any questions you may have today or tomorrow or next week. City of Pompano Beach is open for business. And the very first thing I like to do is I like to thank the Office of Economic and Small Business Development for putting this together. It's a great opportunity for all of us from the different municipalities and my colleagues that spoke before to connect with you. And there's many of you that are looking to do business, and Pompano Beach is, as I said, is open for business. And interestingly, I scrolled through the participant list and I noticed many familiar names, a lot of people that have already been participating, and a lot of good things that are happening in this city. Next slide. The City of Pompano Beach has currently 4 projects in Surtax cycle number 1. Surtax cycle 1 means the very first group of projects that the Broward County has approved for funding, and these projects are funded through the next 5 years, and some of these projects are just ready to get started. The very first 2 on my screen, Bay Drive Neighborhood Improvements, is a $1.17 million project that is strictly a construction, and it has a 35% CBE requirement. The second one is Kendall Lakes Neighborhood Improvement. That's also a ready-to-go project, drainage improvements worth $3.74 million, with also a 35% CBE participation. Both of these projects will be out in the marketplace just as soon as our county folks certify the project. Many of you might not be familiar with the Surtax certification, and before we can even advertise some of these projects, we have to receive a letter from Broward County telling us that, yes, you can start spending money. But right now, both of those projects are fully designed, so CBEs will be an integral part of these two projects in the coming months. So I would ask you to keep an eye on the city's website, and particularly the Purchasing Department Divisions page, where we advertise all of our bids, because some of the contractors are going to be reaching out for small CBs. There will be needs for dumpsters. There will be need for cleaning. There will be need for operators. There will be need for specific activities for each and every one of these initiatives. So there will be an opportunity for work for a variety of trades. The next project is Riverside Drive, which is a streetscape improvement project, and it's a strictly designed, and the city has been approved to spend up to $711,000, and it will have a 30% CBE participation. And the Riverside Drive project is not scheduled to receive monies in the first cycle. That means it currently is not receiving any construction monies. So we're in the early design stages of this. It's going to be a number of years before we actually get monies for construction, but it's a project that will have a construction price tag upwards of $5 million. And last but not least on this list is the Dixie Highway Atlantic Boulevard streetscape improvement projects. This is a nearly $25 million endeavor from Surtax monies alone. And it has a 35% CBE participation. And this project is already under contract with a construction manager at risk. That's Whiting Turner. And Whiting Turner is doing outreach to recruit potential team members. And one of our participants today is a person that is actually working with our team at Whiting Turner to help us out. So what I wanted to make sure that you all understand is that some of these projects are definitely going to need a lot of help from people out there. Now, this is Surtax alone. I also oversee the general obligation bond, and the general obligation bond has $180 million worth of work. And I also work very closely with the capital improvements plan team in the city of Pompano Beach. It has another half a dozen to a dozen projects in 2021, 2022 alone. So I urge you to keep an eye on the city's website, because there's a lot of opportunities for a lot of you out there. Next slide. But I want to walk you through how you are really an intricate part of this, and why the city of Pompano Beach believes in local participation. On March of 2018, the City Commission approved an ordinance establishing a local business plan, and it was a policy to increase participation in the city of Pompano Beach by businesses in the city and work in the procurement process. The main goal was to generate new jobs, support our local merchants, and protect our citizens' hard-earned dollars. And it was done because we wanted to make sure that a lot of the jobs in the city of Pompano Beach stay in the city of Pompano Beach, and that we can bring good companies to the city and join in our flourishing opportunity, the flourishing opportunities that exist in the city of Pompano Beach. Next slide. So in order for us to make sure that we achieve the goals of that ordinance, we created what is called a local first good faith effort report. We do not allow even our own staff to go outside of the city of Pompano Beach until they have exhausted the database that we have looking for companies in the city. And that includes CBEs, because we in the city of Pompano Beach already have a lot of CBEs that have been approved by the county. And we have a very extensive database, and we go into that database and check in for opportunities within Pompano. And then when we cross the line and we go outside of the city of Pompano, we go into the Broward County's database to look for local efforts, for companies that are small and they can help us on small endeavors. Next slide. So we're constantly looking to engage qualified firms, and we have an ongoing workforce recruitment program that is led by our Business and Workforce Initiatives Division, and I'm going to give you their contact number in a couple of minutes. That division conducts construction job connection as well as meet and greet events geared to connect workers, contractors, developers, etc. And this is an opportunity for you to mingle with others and potentially gain knowledge of what we're doing in Pompano and what contractors and developers are looking for in terms of help. Next slide. Now, I want to focus on our CBE recruitment because we made a commitment to make sure that we not only use our existing database, but we also wanted to make sure that we went beyond in trying to recruit companies here in the city of Pompano Beach. And to that effect, what we did is we specifically hire a dedicated person to recruit local firms to be certified as CBEs. A staffer is using a city database compiled by our purchasing department containing all of those registered vendors with names, addresses, emails, etc. And that same person sent a round of emails followed by another and later connected with some of them by phone. And the goal was to walk them through the process the Broward County OESBD has adopted to certify CBEs. The idea was to recruit Pompano Beach-based firms, assist them with the CBE process, and help connect those firms with our selected contractors. The end result would be to meet or exceed the CBE and adhere to the city's local participation program at the same time. And the important thing is we wanted to have someone that you can talk to one-on-one and learn and feel comfortable that you're doing business with reputable people, that the city is behind it, that we are about to embark on a number of projects and we need people like you. And the process is very complex for some people and for some others it's very simple. But we wanted to have someone that you can talk to here in the city of Pompano Beach so that you can become a CBE in the county and also work with us. So far, about 5% of the firms in the city's database are certified as county CBEs. And we want to increase that number tenfold. And we're looking for people to continue to connect with us. Next slide. Now, we did have some issues with CBE certification. And I'm sharing this with you because we all want to work together to make the process simple. Other than Zoom, COVID-19 prevents face-to-face meetings. So that's one of the issues that we encountered during 2020 and 2021. And obviously that changes the dynamics of this whole process. The other thing that we found is that vendors are not very comfortable dealing with people they cannot see or have been reluctant to meet during the COVID-19. So what happens is that you cannot see my face, you don't know who you're talking to, sometimes you don't want to talk to me. They're not comfortable sharing financial data. And I understand you have personal assets, net worth. Sometimes you don't want to reveal what you have. Well, that's part of the process. You're going to have to work with our teams. You're going to have to work with the county and provide some of that information because at the end of the day, it's all about putting you on the line so that you can get work and more work. In some cases, we found that some people may be too busy and they cannot really handle additional workload. But let's be honest. What happens when you're not busy anymore because the economy is on a downturn? Well, you want to be on that list so that you can get an opportunity when the opportunity comes. And of course, some people do not want to go through the red tape to get contracts. Some, working with municipalities sometimes is a little bit more complicated, but we have people in each and every one of our municipalities. And I speak for Pompano, but I'm sure I can speak for my colleagues in other municipalities. And we have people that are going to help you through the process. Next slide. So I want to tell you just about the successes that we've had so far. Dixie Highway Project has a letters of intent from CBEs accounting for over 50% participation. That is a very large number of minority work and local participation work. And we're striving to make sure that the work is there. That's again, our goal was 35%. So far, we're already nearly 50%. Our CBE recruiter has been able to relay CBE certification package to over 100 potential vendors. For one person in just a matter of few months, that's a pretty large workload, and it is a tribute to our dedication to reach out and get people involved. Next slide. So, who is who in this process? Our CBE recruitment and assistance is Jalisa Harvey, and her email address is jalisa.harvey@copbfl.com. Our business and workforce initiative, which I mentioned to you a couple of minutes ago, is led by Dahlia Baker, dahlia.baker@copbfl.com. And I'm your Go Bond and Capital Improvements, and my email address is horatio.danovich@copbfl.com, and you can always call me at 954-786-7834. Before I go to my last slide or my QA session, I just want to describe to you that the city of Pompano Beach, much like all the other municipalities, have a way of registering all of you as vendors in the city of Pompano Beach, and the process is rather simple. If there is a bid, and the city is publishing this bid on our city's website, which is pompanobeachfl.gov, you click on the link called Directory, and in there you scroll until you get to General Services Procurement. And on the procurement page, there's a series of links to become a bidder, and you can register with the city. And then each time you register, now your name is recorded in our database. And whenever there is a project that fits your category, you're going to get an email. You're going to get some notification. So you will be able to select, pick and choose what projects do you want to participate and when. And this will be one way to enter our city and be part of our city's process. With that, I'd like to turn to my last slide, which is the Q&A session, and how can we help you succeed in the city of Pompano Beach?
Hey, Horatio. All right, we do already have a question for you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that presentation. We have a question. Why does Pompano need their own CBE certification in addition to Broward County CBE certification?
The city of Pompano Beach does not require a CBE certification. What we're doing is actually recruiting CBEs to be registered with the city of Pompano Beach in Pompano Beach. So when we have our Surtax projects, now we know we have our own, already built our database of CBEs that are here. What we're trying to do is trying to bridge that gap, bring people that are in the city and or the county and help them become registered so that they can do business with us.
And let me add to that, Savika, and thanks, Horatio, because we talked about this when you first got started, and we currently have had a couple of conversations with Ms. Baker. And to Tony Farber's question, Tony, that's what I actually ask each city to do. At the end of the day, remember the bigger picture. Broward County has a small business program, and we get it. Most of the cities don't buy the volume and the size that the Broward does. But what we do recognize, the businesses in Broward County, we say the word Broward County, but they come from the 31 cities. So the best thing that Broward County as a small business office could do is have 31 partners who has a better handle on the businesses in each city, because we all know this without raising your hand. Each legitimate business in each city should have a city business license tax receipt. 95, 98, 99% of them do. But every business in the city throughout this county should also have a county one. 50% of them actually don't. So if I really want to know the businesses that are in Broward, I need each city to not only share my information, but do what they can to excite the businesses in their city about doing business with that city. But certainly because of Surtax and others, don't just do business in that city, do business with the county. And if it is going to be Surtax related, city certified or not, you got to be CBE certified. So we're hoping all of our cities recognize the need to make sure that they're targeting businesses in their city. And when it comes to Surtax, we hope that they recognize that every business who wants to participate to help that city meet that goal also has to be a CBE. So again, they're not running a registration program that's in conflict or that actually competes with ours. They're just targeting the opportunities to get their local businesses familiar with them as a city. And then by all means, making sure that local business knows that you should be certified with Broward at least twofold. One, because as a city, if I spend that money, I got to work with CBEs. If you're a business in my city, that's how you have to be considered. But secondly, once you're certified as a CBE, it's not just Pompano anymore. I can be a Pompano business with potential work in Margate, Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale, because I'm also in the CBE directory with the county. So again, we appreciate what Horatio is doing. I got a few other cities who are doing the same, but at the end of the day, the best person to tell the message to over 74,000 businesses in Broward County. Unfortunately, it's not the county alone. I got to get that message shared by the cities. So thanks again, Horatio.
My pleasure. Great working with you, Sandy.
Awesome. I think we do have some more questions, but in the meantime, Sandy, what I would like to do is tell all our attendees what we're going to do is open it up to the raise hand icon. So if you would like to ask a question, there is an icon beside your name where you can hit raise hand, and I will unmute you so you can ask your question if you prefer to do that live. So again, just hit raise hand if you don't want to type your question in the Q&A section. We're going to go through those questions right now, but again, you can raise your hand as well. So Horatio, I think there was one more question for you. This is from Marcella. I need to relocate my business and I would like to consider your city. Any advice? My company, Safety Matters, has been certified as CBE by OESBD.
Okay, although that's not my territory, I want to try to guide you the first way that I can. First of all, in order to relocate to the city, we have an economic development manager that will definitely guide you through the process, and that his responsibility is to really help you through that process. And we also have a development services department that will help you with business tax receipts and licensures and stuff like that. What I would like to ask you is to call me directly, and then I will give you the numbers of each and every person that you want to contact in the city to get started. We also have something that is called an economic development committee that will embrace you and will welcome you to be part of that group and guide you through a lot of the things that they've done over the last decades, being part of the city and doing business with the city. And they have also a great knowledge of some of the things that are happening here. We also have a Chamber of Commerce, and a Chamber of Commerce would also provide you guidance on some of the things that you want to do. How do you network your business and how you get to know who's who in the city of Pompano Beach. So please call me directly, 954-786-7834, and I will put you in touch with all the people that you need to talk to or that you should talk to in order to come to Pompano Beach.
Awesome, thank you. Sandy, I think this one is for you. It's very similar, but I think it's a question that comes up a lot from a few of our attendees. It's, does your business need to be in Broward in order to get certified?
Yes. See, real simple. Yes. Again, your business needs to be in Broward at least 1 year. Personal net worth of the owner has to be 1.32 million, not counting the primary residence. The revenue of the business has to average 5 million or less over 3 years. And if you're in construction, 9 million or less over 3 years. And here's the key thing about having an operating presence in Broward for at least a year. Someone in the business in our county must actually be in the industry upon which your business provides that service. So yes, for our small business program, you have to be here at least a year. If you're down in Miami, the same. You're up in Palm Beach, the same. And again, you don't have to be headquartered here. So you ain't got to uproot yourself. But Broward County, you have to be a business in our county with an operating presence of at least 1 year. Okay, Savika?
Thanks, Sandy. Thank you. And I think this question is for all of our speakers. So in case it's a yes, feel free to unmute yourself. One of our attendees wants to know if there's any IT opportunities available and the best way to contact an IT department to understand upcoming projects. And similarly, Sandy, if a firm would like to know whether or not there's opportunities available for them through Matt Broward's projects, how would they find out that information?
So one way to do it, and here's another arrangement we also have with the cities. We told you that we are reviewing their projects on the front end. They give us information so that we can do a recommended goal. They're also going to get that recommended goal back, and as a part of their solicitation, when they put it on the street, they're going to talk about our program. One of the things that we're asking the cities to do is to work with our office to make sure when the solicitation goes on the street, we also can announce that. But similarly, we take information directly from the cities when they begin to describe some of the scopes and the services. And we then have a section in our Wednesday newsletter called Hot Tips. So I want to be clear, from Broward County to all of our cities, their portal for procurement is the official portal you need to go to get 100% of the real information. But when we say Hot Tips in a newsletter, maybe 2 weeks or a month early, it's just telling you that we're familiar with the city who has a proposed project. And here are some of the scopes. If one of those scopes sound like you, then that just simply means you want to begin to trail that city. You want to begin to at least make sure you're on that city's portal so you can get that information when the bids get ready to come out. That's the best way, in addition to the pennyfortransportation.com website. The original website, all the cities, including the county, had to submit their proposed projects for approval by the Oversight Board and Broward County Commission, and each city and their projects are also on that website. But like all bids, this is government. Our cities are also government. The devil in the detail will be in the solicitation when the bid comes out. But through our Wednesday newsletter, through our website, through email blasts based on communications with the city, that's the way. Remember, program, process, people, process. That's the way you can start garnering some additional information. Let's take that other question about how about IT? The same holds true. You have to read and understand the proposed projects. Remember, these are our first 4 cities out of a list of 52 reviewed projects. If they're not hitting IT, it don't mean IT may not be included. Even on the county side, you just have to trail and watch what those agencies or what these cities are actually proposing as activities. From a county's perspective, you get in touch with our IT department the same as you get in touch with any of the other departments. You can go to the county's website, you can click on agency, you can find the contacts, and you can send your information. But as an office, we share as much as we can from the county agency perspective and from the different cities specifically regarding Surtax with you through our Wednesday newsletter every single Wednesday.
Thanks, Andy. And I think that answers the questions as well in regards to remediation companies, internet communications, and all of those opportunities. The next question we had, and please remember attendees that you can raise your hand if you'd like to be unmuted to ask your question live. The next question we have is, do you require contractors to be bonded? And what are the insurance requirements for these projects? Any of our cities, feel free to answer that as well.
I'll be happy to start if you want.
Go right ahead. Thank you.
All right. Yes, the answer is yes. Statutorily, any project that's over $250,000 requires a bond. And we do require that in the city of Pompano Beach. And if you're a sub to one of our contractors, per se, let's say the Whiting Turners of this world, which have plenty of bonding capacity, it would be a function of how you work with them, not with us. So if you have a $250,000 line item with Whiting Turner, then that becomes a question with them. Now, insurance, that's also required. And insurance is required the minute you come into a site. If you're just a materials provider and you're just delivering materials, insurance is not required. But if you are going to perform any activities, then yes. And the city is always named as an additional insurer on every project. So you will have to submit a copy of your insurance if you're hired directly by the city. If you're hired by the contractor, again, as a sub, then your insurance will be with them. I hope that answers from my end.
Okay, great. Maureen, I believe that you've raised your hand. Maybe you'd like to respond as well. You can go ahead and speak.
Yes, we also require contracts for most of our solicitations. It could be over 100,000 or more, or sometimes even less. Our insurance requirements for each are listed for each solicitation. And at the time when you're submitting your bid, the bidders are asked to submit just a sample of an insurance certificate, just to show that they're insurable. And then at the time of award, they are required, the awarded contractor is required to submit the insurance certificates for them and any subs that they have.
Okay, thank you, Maureen. And that's Maureen from the city of Fort Lauderdale. I think that question is from our attendee, Cynthia. You've been unmuted as well if you would like to add more to your question.
Yes, my name is Cynthia Alexander from Senate Notary. I actually am a CBE. I provide insurance and bonding, and I would like to know if I can actually be on those projects. That's what my question was actually about. Thank you.
Okay, I can answer that on behalf of the city of Pompano Beach. When it comes to providing insurance to a CBE, we don't dictate who they get it from. And when it comes to something that the city procures, we have our own internal risk management office that procures that through different agencies. Now, if we don't hire a company specifically on a project to provide bonding or insurance capacity, the contractors go directly to you.
Thanks, Horacio. And our next raised hand is, go ahead, Mr. or Miss Yardale. You've been unmuted as well. You can answer or you can ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. This is Yardale Fuentes with One Attack. I know that some of the Surtax projects, since it comes from the Florida Department of Transportation, requires a pre-qualification letter. We went through that process with the state to get pre-qualified for certain groups of work that we can do for the Florida Department of Transportation. Is that also required by the cities or not?
And we can go ahead, Horacio, can you answer that one? And we can go to a few more of our cities afterwards.
I can answer that. We required certification by, let's say, by the Florida Department of Transportation if the work that we're doing is on a Department of Transportation roadway. Otherwise, we do not. You know, we use Florida Department of Transportation's guidelines and details for our designs and so forth. But unless we're doing work on, say, Atlantic Boulevard west of 95 or on Federal Highway, all other projects are within our boundaries and are within our city roads, and therefore we don't require that.
Okay, thank you. We can go to Charles from the city of Plantation as well.
Yes, I'm gonna piggyback off Horacio's statement as well. There is a Florida statute that requires that if you're doing any restoration or repairs to roadways and bridges, that you are certified, qualified to do that type of work. It doesn't specifically say you need to be qualified with a certification from FDOT, but it does say you need to be able to conduct the work accordingly and be certified in the necessary certificates to be able to perform the work for anything over a value of $250,000.
Thank you very much. And Juan from the city of Fort Lauderdale.
Perfect. Yes, and to echo what Horacio and Charles said, it's the same for us. Depending on the project, and we have a few projects in the city of Fort Lauderdale, You will have to have some sort of certification, not necessarily through FDOT, but depending on the type of project that it is, those would be listed in the solicitations itself of what we require. But there's no specific FDOT requirement or license as a whole that you would need for many of our projects. And any special requirements would be listed in the solicitations.
Okay, and I think we have Coconut Creek as well that can respond.
I'm sorry, can you just ask the question again?
Yeah, sure. The question essentially was whether or not FDOT sort of pre-qualification is required for your projects.
No, we don't have a pre-qualification program for the roadway project.
Great, thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
And I think Cynthia had another question. I see a hand raised. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Make sure you're not muted, Cynthia.
I do apologize. I did not have another question.
Okay, no problem. And let's see, right now, I think those are the questions for now. Sandy, there was a question in here. Will you be setting up roadway bridge design projects that are higher than 25,000 and set aside for small businesses so they can be financially viable?
Okay, so the first thing we'll do, we'll stop using the word set aside. There's no such thing. There's sheltered market opportunities. But set asides are illegal, so we don't do set asides. But again, we can check with our highway and our road folks to take that specific question to see. The reality is for all of our projects, and I won't speak for the cities, but similarly, but for all of our projects, we take a look at carving out as many opportunities as possible. So another thing about our program, and this still holds true even when we're dabbling in Surtax. With Broward County, $250,000 or less projects, we have a program called Sheltered Market, where only my SBE, Small Business Enterprise, the smallest of my small businesses, get to compete for contracts. That's our Sheltered Market carve out. So if highways and transportation or transit or aviation, if any of the county agencies are procuring a good, material, or service for $250,000 or less, that's your $25,000, that's your $50,000, that's your $90,000. Those are my SBE opportunities. Everything $250,000 or more, that's where we began to establish goals, where a prime might win a $20 million contract, but 30% of that must be small businesses, or where there might be an $8 million contract and we reserve it for CBEs, not the big boys, not the primes, just my CBEs. So we'll always let you know when there's carve out opportunities. I can't actually say, but I'm comfortable asking if any of our agencies are going to be carving out, per your question, on that side of $25,000, $50,000, or $80,000 opportunities. But what I will say, you want to pay attention to our newsletter when we're speaking about sheltered market reserves, because that's everything under 250,000, and that's what falls into those ranges. For Surtax, 250,000 or under for the cities, we don't establish goals. It's not in the ordinance. So if something came up where it was a $90,000 project relevant to what you're describing, there would be no goal. But it doesn't mean as a small business, you can't bid on it. That's what we mean by some of these bids, what I said at the beginning, are going to be sizable enough that with or without a goal, some of you have the size and capacity to go after those. So again, we'll get more information for you in that regard, but understanding our program, there's an everyday SBE sheltered market reserve that Broward County does on everything under 250,000.
Thanks, Andy. And as we begin wrapping up, I am going to put a poll on the screen right now. It's going to take less than 1 minute. I am requesting that all our attendees please complete this poll. It really does help us ensure that we're covering the information that you would like, and you're really getting useful information out of our event. So Sandy, you can go ahead. Everyone will see this poll. Please answer those 5 questions. You can hit submit and it'll go away from your screen. Go ahead, Sandy.
So thank you, Savika, and thanks for always navigating these sessions for us and our outreach team, Ms. McCall and all the others. And thank all of our presenters. Thank you for showing up, for sharing this information. This is invaluable as we begin to do more and more with the cities. And as more and more projects dot the I's and cross the T's, you'll start seeing as small businesses, these projects from the cities actually hitting the streets. So Coconut Creek, thank you. Fort Lauderdale, thank you. Plantation, thank you. Pompano Beach, thank you. And thank each of you as small businesses, those who are certified, those who are not. Take advantage of our links, stay engaged with us, get additional information. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get that Wednesday newsletter with the hot tips and other information. And again, it's not so much about the information. If you're not willing to follow through and then apply the things that you know, not the things you heard, the things you know. We're trying to give you information that's going to put you in position to be competitive with the cities as well as the county projects relevant to Surtax. So with that, we thank you all. Thanks again to each one of the presenters. For those who may be on this call who was thinking about starting a business, didn't know, you had a great idea, we're getting ready to roll out our next set of what we call our new venture entrepreneurship program. So there's going to be a big information session coming up either later this month or in March. So continue to follow our newsletter or our website to get more on that as well as any of our other events and our other workshops. We constantly have events and workshops. And again, you're small businesses, you're busy. And even if my staff does about 86 of those a year, I don't want to see you on each one of them. I need you out here making money. But you do need to read them to find the ones that will be of value to you and show up for those. And again, take that information and apply it. And with that, thank you again, Savika. There's my contact information there, Savika's contact information. Savika will be setting another one of these up for next month, hopefully with 3 or 4 other cities, so we can begin to tell you about the projects coming from the city as well as those coming from Broward County. But with that, thank you all for participating. Have a good day and stay safe.